Have you ever wondered why robotic arms are so expensive? When you look at the materials, aluminum tubing, plastic parts, cables, electronics, that's not really that expensive. But the motors and gearboxes used in these robotic arms, this is the expensive part. But what if we try to use cheap stepper motors and 3D print our own gearboxes? Today I want to design, print and test a planetary gearbox to see if it's actually strong enough for a real robotics project. Let's get started. So far, my most successful project when it comes to designing the gearboxes is that one. I put that on Thingiverse and surprisingly many people downloaded that. I have no idea why. But now I will be designing a planetary gearbox because it is quite easy to design and you can stack stages to multiply the torque. It's also quite compact. I designed everything in Fusion and I used a free plugin to help with the gear geometry. Based on my past experiments with 3D printed gears, I used a 0.5mm module size, which works well for FDM printers with a standard 0.4mm nozzle. A lot of people worry about plastic gears, but after watching a video from Maker's Muse, I learned that PLA gears can actually be incredibly strong, sometimes even better than other specialized materials. So everything here is printed in PLA. To do research and learn more about planetary gears, I watched some YouTube videos from How to Mechatronics and Michael Rechtin. Both videos are great and were a huge inspiration for my own video. And I know many of you want to see the exact step-by-step process of how I designed these gears in Fusion. It was a bit too long to include in this video, but I've put together a much more detailed design deep dive, let's call it, video over on my Patreon for those who want to support the channel, my work, the project, and learn not only how to design that, but design it in such a way that it's actually 3D printable. It took me 3 versions to get it right. The first design was too bulky. By version 2 I made it 30% smaller, but the tolerances weren't perfect. Version 3 is the final result. It's 2mm shorter than the version 2 and works very smoothly. To assemble it, you just need 5 bearings, some entry screws and NEMA 17 stepper motor. I made the sun gear smaller in this version, version number 3, which gives us 5:1 ratio. That means 5 motor revolutions equal to 1 output revolution. And we get about 5 times the torque. But 5 times isn't enough for a robot arm, so I designed a second stage that goes on top of the first stage, and now we have a 25:1 gearbox. To see if this actually works, I built a custom testing setup. It uses load cell, which I took from an old Trustent project. And that's how we build a simple test stand, just 2 aluminum profiles, because they are so easy to work with. Then you attach some 3D printed parts to hold the profiles together and to attach the strain gauge or tensometric beam to the profiles. Then I have the arm, the motor holder, it attaches like this to the profiles. Then here goes the arm. And then with a simple program for the Arduino and a simple Python script running on my computer, I will be controlling the motor and testing the torque of the motor and the gearbox as long as the gearbox can survive. It will measure the exact force being applied. This is connected to an Arduino Uno and my computer via USB. And I also used a GRBL shield that I just plugged on top of the Arduino, and with a driver I can control the stepper motor. I also wrote a custom Python app that controls the motor and plot all the data in real time. This allows me to run automatic stress tests and see exactly when the gearbox starts to fail. And it just looks super cool. It looks like I know what I'm doing. Based on the comments under my videos and all the emails I receive every single week, I see that people are very interested in how to program Arduino boards, how to write programs in Python, or how to design something in Fusion, and with all of that, Skillshare, the sponsor of today's video, can definitely help you. Skillshare is the largest online learning community with thousands of classes led by industry experts. You have classes here on pretty much anything. If you want to create a very cool logo for your new company, there is a class on that. But related to the topic of this video, if you want to learn the basics of programming Arduino boards, there is a great class by Mark Fraunfelder that will teach you all the basics of installing the Arduino IDE on your computer, programming your first Arduino board, and connecting different sensors and motors. It's a great start to start building projects like this one. But if Arduino is not for you, you can learn to program computers in Python, because that's exactly what I'm using in this project as well. There is a great class by Alvin1 that will teach you all the basics that are necessary to understand how to write really good programs in Python. It's a great starting point so that later you can create software like I did for this video. If you would like to try out Skillshare, I have a very good news for you, because the first 500 people that will click the link in the video description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So go check out the link in the video description. Thanks a lot to Skillshare for sponsoring, and thanks a lot to you for watching this sponsored segment. And now we go back to the video. And when everything was ready, I obviously had to do some testing of the test stand, and to do that I grabbed the V2 gearbox with 4:1 reduction. I put it on the test stand and it was running for about 2 hours when I started noticing that it has some problems. And I was pretty sure that finally one of the gears is broken or something is damaged inside, but actually there is no sign of wear on any of the gears. Everything looks perfect. So it had to be something different. I quickly found out that the small A4988 driver overheats when you stress the motor and stall it repeatedly. It reached 120 degrees Celsius and the thermal protection kept shutting it off. I tried a bigger driver with a heatsink, but for some reason the performance was even worse. In the end, I went back to the small driver, but I added a fan blowing air directly onto the heatsink of the driver. And that helped. Simple problem, simple solution. The peak torque that my two-stage gearbox with 25:1 reduction reached was about 4.5 Newton meters, 4.6 Newton meters, something like that. But I also had to measure the torque that the motor on its own without any gearbox can reach, and that was about 0.25 Newton meters. The length of the arm is also 100 millimeters as it is for the gearboxes. So now, if my math is right, which is very unlikely, we got 0.25 Newton meters with just the motor and the arm. And now if we multiply it by 25, that is the ratio of the gearbox with 2 stages, we got 6.25 Newton meters. That's the theoretical torque that this gearbox with the motor should reach. But in fact, we reached only 4.5. So now if we subtract 4.5, we got 1.75 Newton meters of torque. The torque that is lost in the gearbox because of friction and everything else. And now if we want to calculate the efficiency of the gearbox, we just divide 4.5 by 6.25, and that equals to 0.72 or 72%. Is it a good value? I have no idea, but you can let me know in the comments. I started with a test of 1000 cycles at 4 Newton meters of torque. It took over 2 hours. When I opened it up, there was no wear at all, no plastic powder, and the teeth were perfect. I decided not to use any grease inside the gearbox. I know grease would make it last longer, but I actually wanted to see it fail and push the limits of what this gearbox can do. It's also much easier to see the damaged, broken pieces of plastic in a dry plastic. If you use this in a real final project, definitely use some lubricant. So I set a new goal, 5000 cycles. During the night I had some issues with the motor overheating, so I lowered the target torque to only 3 Newton meters. By the morning we hit 15,600 cycles and it was still going without any problems. We are right now at about 16,000 cycles and for some reason the torque is back. I was running it overnight at 3 Newton meters. And now I noticed that it reaches easily higher values than that, so I started increasing it gradually and I reached 4.5 Newton meters, which worked fine. So for some reason, after doing all the 16,000 cycles and running it for almost 24 hours, now we are reaching higher torques than when we were starting this test.
There is like a little bit of blue plastic on the screw, so I guess there was some friction between the arm and the screw, and after all the cycles there should be a little groove in the arm, and that was actually eating up some of the torque generated by the motor. And now that the groove is there and the screw is not touching the arm, we are back to full torque. Perfect.
After 46 hours and reaching 32,000 cycles, the output shaft was starting to get a bit wobbly. If you calculate the total force applied to the load cell over those 33,000 hits, it adds up to about 135,000 kilograms or 135 metric tons. It's a bit of a meaningless number, I know, but it sounds really cool. And here we are 2 days later. The test has been running for 48 hours and 30 minutes, and we did 33,300 cycles. Let's just stop the test. It's so good to not hear the noise anymore from this motor. The first inspection after 48 hours shows that the motor seems totally fine outside of the range of the movement, but when the arm gets close to this train gauge, as you can see, the arm is a bit loose, which wasn't the case before. Here is that groove on the arm caused by the screw that was limiting our torque, but interestingly there is also a mark at the end of the arm, and this is where the arm was touching the aluminum part of the sensor. The first stage, the one closest to the motor, was almost perfect. It only feels about 1/5 of the total torque that is on the output shaft, so it could probably last 10 times longer, or maybe even more. And there was some plastic powder in that first stage, but not really much of it. However, the final stage had some broken teeth, some plastic pieces were floating around, and one tooth was pressed into the outer gear. But considering we ran this at max torque in the exact same position for 48 hours, this is still very impressive. In a real robot arm or any other use case, the wear would be spread out across all the teeth more evenly, and you won't run the motor and gearbox at the maximum torque it can reach, obviously, but lower than that, like, I don't know, 50%, let's say. So is it doable? Absolutely. You can easily 3D print your own planetary gears and they work quite well. If you stay around 2 Nm of torque for my own gearbox, these gearboxes should last a very long time, but 2 Nm, that's not really much. Definitely not enough for a robotic arm that uses heavy stepper motors. Even when we add more stages to increase the output torque, the small printed gears will fail sooner as higher torque acts on the tooth of the gearbox. So the idea for this video started as I want to create a super powerful gearbox for a robotic arm, but as I worked on it, and especially when I noticed that the first stage of the gearbox after 30,000 cycles and running for 48 hours is basically perfectly fine, I thought that I could use it for a completely different project, but it could be very useful as well. And here I have all the parts for this project printed. A while ago I started the Open Robotic Platform, an open source standardized system for robot parts. Previously I made a very large chassis that wasn't very practical, and then a very small one that I launched the Kickstarter for. It was successful, and now you can buy this smaller chassis on my store. But now I want to learn ROS and I need something in the middle, so that's exactly what I built. Using the Open Robotic Platform design rules, I designed this new chassis and I went from just having an idea to having all the parts ready for assembly in just 12 hours. 3D printing is truly amazing. In the past, I used my DIY CNC machine in the mill that I built and that you can build as well and buy the parts from my store, and that worked great, but right now I ran out of plywood, so I decided to 3D print all the parts instead, because that's also possible and very easy to do. The plates are 250 mm in the diameter, so they fit perfectly on a Bumble Up printer. The gearboxes were printed in PLA and assembled just like the test units. I designed motor holders and wheels with TPU tires that attach with 5 screws. I also used different colors for the connectors between the plates just to make it look cool and unique. It's the perfect size of the chassis to hold, for example, Raspberry Pi, Jetson Nano, some sensors and batteries. If you want to 3D print the gearboxes that I designed for this video, or for example the robotic chassis, everything will be published for free on the internet, and I will give you links to that in the description. If you want to learn how to design your own planetary gearbox, the video is on my Patreon. There's just one problem. A while ago I checked online if I can just buy this kind of gearboxes for stepper motors, and these were quite expensive. But now that I'm finishing working on this video, I checked AliExpress and I found one for $15 with shipping. If you want to see me buy one and test it against my 3D printed version to see which one is better, Let me know in the comments. I thought that this will be the end of this video, but leaving you like that without the chassis working wouldn't be nice. And also Arduino sent me their new Arduino Q, which I tried and liked quite a lot, so let's try to run this robot with Arduino Uno Q. This board is special because you can program it in Arduino but also in Python. There is Linux running on the board and you can easily communicate between the Arduino sketch and the Python script. So I created a simple server that runs this app that I can access with my browser. I assembled the robot with a power bank, LiPo battery, Arduino Uno Q and the GRBL shield that is controlling the motors, and of course my 3D printed gearboxes. I put everything on the robot, and of course I can also access this website on my phone and easily control the robot like this. As you can see, thanks to these stepper motors, the movements are incredibly sharp and you can control the chassis super precisely, which I think will be crucial to get everything working nicely in ROS and, for example, map my rooms. If you want to see that, don't forget to subscribe.